has in store as he too tries to snap a long, very long winless streak.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot. I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot during the game. But 5-13 on the year with a very good 2.81 ERA. 13 starts this season against the National League East. 4-5 with a 2.67. So he's had some success in this division. So hopefully this will be the formula he needs tonight to get off the schneid.
His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Julio Teheran pitched yesterday, pitched a great game. How about follow the leader? Be aggressive like Julio's been. Attack the zone and hope to be the spoiler for this Mets team that's riding a 3-game high coming out of Washington. 3 come from behind wins to sweep that series.
And Shelby Miller's defense for tonight will keep an eye on the outfield. As we've mentioned a couple of times, the outfield was underwater here. Glenn Burns told us that we had 4 inches of rain in 90 minutes. And the water pumps that draw the water out of the grass just couldn't keep up with the amount of liquid that fell from the skies. Field looks beautiful for now. We'll check it out as the game goes on. But needless to say, the outfielders Swisher, Bourne, and Markakis will be tested as part of the CPI security Atlanta defense for game 1. It's turned out to be a nice night. Good crowd is here. We've got Julio Teheran bobblehead night. It's college night. Kids will get to stay late and run the bases. And hopefully they'll see the Braves play the role of a spoiler against the visiting New York Mets. And she has the right idea.
Yes, she does.
Shelby lifetime against the Mets, 0-1, a 3.15 ERA. He's made 3 career starts against them. Last outing was not a good one. Against the Nationals, Miller gave up 7 runs, walked 3, threw a couple of wild pitches in his 4 innings and 1/3 worth of work. So hopefully, as Tom said, he can get off the schneid and get on the beam and get in the win column. And they'll face Curtis Granderson to lead things off for New York. Beware the leadoff homer. Granderson has 7 of them this year. And at long last, we're underway with a strike. .70 degrees at first pitch after a 2-hour and 20-minute rain delay. And that's off the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
The rain delay might have done some folks some good trying to get here with that traffic today.
Oh, my goodness.
All the highways and byways were clogged today. Low and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. But as Ernie Johnson used to say, it's understandable. All roads lead to Turner Field tonight, as the first place Mets are in town for the weekend. The pitch is popped out of play by Granderson. And it's 2-2. Last 19 games, Curtis Granderson's on base percentage, .457. He has scored 18 runs in those last 19 games.
Got 55 homers out of their first 2 guys in the order. That's not too bad.
And Miller got him to swing and miss. Good start for Shelby. 1 down.
The aggressive attack, he did. Right on by.
Well, it's been a while since we've seen the Mets. And this man is one reason why they've taken off. He has dramatically changed their ball club offensively. Yoenis Cespedes has 14 homers and 36 RBIs as a National League player. But Tom and Joe, that doesn't factor in the marvelous numbers he put up over the American League.
No, his season-long numbers, both leagues combined, MVP worthy for sure.
Pop fly down the right field line and out of play foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's done stuff that legends are made of when you join a new ball club, as you can see by these numbers, but they always seem to come when they need them most. He's really been clutch for them.
I wasn't here when the Braves acquired Fred McGriff. Did Fred McGriff do for the Braves what Cespedes is doing for the Mets?
It seemed like he did.
He brought that.
That ball is Is that a foul ball? Fair ball. Cespedes is walking back to the dugout. He lost the bat. And A.J. Pierzynski tags him out. What in the world happened to Cespedes on that play?
I think he just wanted to make sure his thumb was still attached.
Yes. He got all bat. Just knocked it. Literally knocked the bat out of his hands.
Knocked that little thumb pillow protector off his hand too, I think.
Sure did.
Cespedes says no mas.
Yeah.
And heads to the dugout. I've never seen that before.
I haven't either.
Shelby Miller literally knocked the bat out of Yoenis Cespedes' hands. Love that. So here's Lucas Duda with the bases empty, and he takes low.
But it's funny though with Cespedes, it's another example of sometimes the best trades are the ones that aren't made. Everybody thought they were getting Gomez, and when that fell through, boy, did they strike gold with Cespedes.
And boy, did Sandy Alderson take heat for backing out of, if you will, that deal with Milwaukee. And so they got Cespedes, who is a free agent at the end of the year, and he's looking for a new set of knuckles. 2 balls and a strike for Duda.
I don't know where you find those.
He got absolutely eaten alive.
I guarantee you there's not any in the trainer's box in there. First aid kit.
And outside for Duda, who's missed some time with a bad back. But Duda had a terrific start to the season for the Mets, most notably an improvement in hitting left-handed pitching. That was always the bugaboo for Lucas Duda as an offensive player. 21 homers for him, 245 average, and at the knees, full count.
94-95 so far for Shelby. Airing it out.
That would at 96.
Looking for those knuckles. No, Cespedes, I'm still looking.
Two outs, and the payoff is down low. Duda takes a 2-out walk, and that'll bring up Juan Uribe. So Cespedes has made a big impact. But before the Mets got Cespedes, they got Kelly Johnson and Juan Uribe from the Braves, and those two guys immediately lifted the spirits of the Mets and lifted their offensive numbers.
Terry Collins said the same thing that I think we learned, Chip, and that is that Juan Uribe's got a lot left in the tank, and especially defensively, the Mets were very surprised at how good he was defensively in the absence of David Wright.
Yeah, third base was a black hole at times for the Mets, with Wright out with the spinal stenosis problems. And by the numbers, Juan Uribe has been the best fielding third baseman in the National League for the last couple of years.
No, those are two good guys too you're getting in your clubhouse, and two guys that can do a lot of things for you to help you win some games.
No balls and a strike. Uribe takes a little low.
Talking to Terry Collins today, Tommy said just that. He said they were great additions to our clubhouse. They're professional. They're always ready to play and give you good at bats. And that was at a time where they weren't scoring any runs.
Ripped straight back. He had a good cut. 1 ball, 2 strikes. One point, I believe the Mets were the lowest scoring team in our league. And that was the big frustration for the Mets faithful. They had all that great pitching, but they were losing games 2-1, 3-2. Well, that has certainly changed. Kelly Johnson, Uribe and company.
They've gone from averaging 3.4 runs a game to 6.1 runs a game since July 25th.
That'll work, won't it?
Yes, it will.
Look at the dramatic difference since the deadline.
First in homers, and third in runs per game. That is a huge change for New York.
And let's not forget, they don't play in a bandbox either.
I was going to say, for them to be leading in homers, playing in that ballpark, that's impressive.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And off the plate. It's 2-2.
Uribe's a good fastball hitter. We certainly learned that in his time in a Braves uniform, and we already knew that he's a good high fastball hitter and a good hanging slider hitter.
Swing and a miss.
That wasn't a hanger.
Shelby Miller dazzled in the first inning, knocked the bat right out of the hands of Yoenis Cespedes, and he just struck out Juan Uribe. Here come the Braves against the ageless wonder Bartolo Colon in a scoreless game in Atlanta. Come the Braves at home, fresh off a big night last night in Philadelphia, where the Braves scored 8 runs on 18 hits. Pretty much the same lineup for Atlanta, with the notable exception of the catcher spot, where A.J. Przinsky cleans up, and Atlanta will try to do that against Bartolo Colon.
13-11 on the year, but real good against the National League East. 13 starts, 12-1 record, and he, as we talked about, has been real good lately.
25 straight shutout innings pitched.
And the player of the week in the National League. Not so much for his pitching, I think, guys, but for that remarkable acrobatic play he made defensively in Miami.
The Globetrotters called.
It was awesome. But really no secret about what Bartolo Colon features, is there?
No.
It's up, down, in, out. Fastball 84% of the time. 2-seamers, 4-seamers.
It's like I've talked about so much with all these guys that are throwing 95 and 100 and can't locate their fastball. Here's a guy that doesn't, but he can locate his fastball all over the place.
That ball served towards center. Cespedes comes in and makes the play. And Markakis is retired for the first out in the Atlanta opening inning. Here's the Mets defense. Granderson in right, Cespedes in center. And we'll get our first look at Michael Conforto, the youngster called up from Double-A and is having a good run. Kelly Johnson and Uribe, former Braves, on the infield. Cult hero Wilmer Flores, the shortstop, and Kevin Plawecki is behind the plate for Travis d'Arnaud. Now the Mets get their first look at Hector Olivera tonight. And he had a nice road trip, 7 for 21. And he's riding a 4-game hit streak.
Yeah, my first look too. I didn't get a chance to see him the last couple nights in Philly.
One ball, 1 strike. From a pitcher standpoint, what were your initial impressions of Olivera?
I mean, I like the way he's swinging it now. You know, I mean, obviously not a whole lot known about him, so we're gonna have to see how guys adjust to him and how he makes adjustments.
They made a couple of mistakes to him in Philadelphia, Tom, and he capitalized each time.
That's bounced towards short. Friendly hop for Flores, and Oliveira is retired for out number 2.
From a hitter standpoint for Bartolo Colon, one of the, I guess it's almost a frustrating thing, is that you keep thinking, oh, he's going to throw me something else at some point. At what point do I look for something other than the 21 fastballs he's thrown me tonight? And it never comes.
I mean, can you?
No.
You know, I mean, unless you get 2 strikes, and then maybe you got to be a little bit more open-minded. But I mean, I think you get in there and attack his fastball because you're going to get it.
Well, that's what Freddie Freeman has done. He's 8 for 18 lifetime against Bartolo Colon, and sitting on 16 home runs, 2 of them against the Mets this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. Joe mentioned the scoreless streak that Colon is working. It's the longest by a pitcher 42 years or older since Hoyt Wilhelm in 1967. So Bartolo truly an ageless wonder, gunning for his 14th win, and that one hit the other way. Freeman beat the shift. Nice hitting, and there's the first Atlanta safety of the night.
Three starts against the Braves this year. Colon is 3-0 with a 3.79 ERA. He's given up a hit per inning in 19 innings, but he's only walked 2. Struck out 13.
A.J. Pierzynski, the man that's faced Colon the most, 56 career at-bats. For A.J. Pierzynski, who's got 15 hits in that stretch. And he took a strike. AJ's 27 hits away from 2,000. And on the road trip, he passed Bill Dickey with hit number 1970. AJ now all by himself in 10th place all time among big league catchers in hits. Next up is Johnny Bench.
Your name gets mentioned with him. That's a good deal.
Yeah, that's good company.
He's 75 away from the former Reds great. No balls, 2 strikes. And a line drive to left. Opposite field singles for Freeman and Pierzynski with 2 outs.
I talk a lot about how a guy got up on the same level as a fastball. AJ had to reach his hands up above his head to get the bat on the same level as that almost, and take it the other way. Look how high this pitch is. That's awesome.
So he'll make a mental note of that. Next time he wants to climb the ladder on AJ, he got to go a little higher.
So Nick Swisher's coming up. Swisher's got 6 hits, including 2 homers against Colon himself. And he's done good work with runners in scoring position. Talk so much about Shelby Miller's scoreless run. A lot of that has to do with a ridiculously low level of run support. Shelby's allowed 1 earned run or less 14 times. He's had 11 starts in which he's gotten 0 runs. 11 of his 29 starts counting tonight.
There have been a couple of starts recently where Shelby's been given some runs and actually given a lead, and he couldn't hold it. But overall, in this 20 start stretch, he's only had a total of 21 runs to work with.
On average, Miller gets fewer than 2.5 runs per game of support, far and away the worst in the big leagues. And that is why he's 5 and 13. 2 balls and a strike.
He's pitched well enough to be 13 and 5 easily.
Yeah.
And probably more than that.
Runners in scoring position. A problem for the Braves in recent days big time until last night when they broke out with 8 runs on 18 hits. And over this stretch, they've left men left on base.
But they've got a chance here in the first. 2 on, 2 out. And a 2-2 count for Nick Swisher. Ground ball to second. That will retire the side. Bartolo Colon has 26 straight scoreless innings. He strands a pair in the bottom of a scoreless first inning.
How much is
first inning, but escaped any damage in the run column. One of those hits was off the bat of Freddie Freeman, who's our AT&T Uverse trivia question tonight. Over the last 4 years, he's tied for second with 15 homers against the Mets. Who has hit the most home runs against the Mets over the last 4 years?
Ryan Howard.
It's always Ryan Howard.
Good guess.
How about the way Bryce Harper swung the bat the other day? He had 2. I wonder if Bryce Harper's in that discussion. I know he hasn't been in the league as long as that trivia question, but boy, did he look good for Washington. As has this young man, Michael Conforto. Took the Mets a while to decide to bring him up from Double-A to the big leagues, and look at how he has rewarded that decision.
10th pick in the 2014 draft out of Oregon State. He played at Brooklyn last year in A-ball, short season. They promoted him to Double-A after hitting .331 at Brooklyn, and he's done a great job here for them. Average may be suffering a little bit by comparison, but they like him a lot. 6'1", 215.
High hopper to second. Jace Peterson will make the underhanded flip to first. Conforto's retired. 1 down. Well, if you're looking for a symbol of the Mets season, look no further than the man walking to the batter's box, Wilmer Flores. He thought he was traded. He reacted tearfully in New York, found out he wasn't traded to Milwaukee, and then the very next day won a game for them against the Nationals. And hasn't stopped hitting since. "16 homers, 59 RBIs. And He's hit big home runs. 4 of the last 6 he's hit have put the Mets in front. Swing and a miss. Shelby has excellent stuff tonight.
Flores has hit a couple of homers against the Braves this year. Ball really jumps off his bat.
So let's flash back to the trading deadline.
A lot of tears when he thought he was headed to Milwaukee. That deal fell through. So the next night, a walk-off.
Amazing. And this one launched toward left, but that one's playable for Swisher. There's the second out. So to your point, again, sometimes the best trades are the ones you don't make.
Yep. I remember sitting there watching that game at home that night and following the madness on Twitter that was going on over that whole thing, and it was just crazy. That's probably one of the difficult things in today's game. General managers, clubs, and you know, because everybody's trying to be the first one to get information out there, and that whole thing, clearly a lot of people jumped the gun on that.
Sure did. There's a lot of guys that do that now. Trying to be the first. It doesn't matter if you have to be right. Someday, those guys that want to be first and are wrong are going to be held accountable, aren't they? Somehow, some way.
Would hope.
Let's see. You made up this story. You've been right 1 out of 6 times. I don't think that's acceptable.
0-2 for Kelly Johnson, who lines one out of play. Well, if you're an insider, you don't have to worry about it because you're on the inside.
You're an insider.
That's what they say.
Kelly Johnson, big pinch hit homer last night. Tied the game in Washington. He can hit anybody's fastball, so be careful with him. And that one stroked toward left. Long run, Swisher. Diving try. Can't get it. It's off the end of his glove and into the corner. And Kelly Johnson with a 2-strike hit stands at second with 2 outs.
Did you see Freddie Freeman? It's a first baseman's job to kind of tailgate that runner in case he runs second too far and they could pick him off. Well, Freddie was racing Kelly to second, side by side. And talking to
And down the stretch they come. And photo finish. Kelly Johnson has the first New York hit. Good for him. Here's Plawecki. Kevin Plawecki will be walked, and the Braves will go after Bartolo Colon, but beware, Bartolo's having a great year at the plate. And by great, I mean great for him. Tell you about his numbers after the intentional walk. So a chance for Colon to help himself, and he was fired up. He knew the game situation. The 7th place guy's on. They're going to walk the catcher. I got to get my helmet.
And you can see the railing moving as he was jogging. .511 playing at a listed .285.
And hey, he doesn't get cheated at the plate either.
No, he doesn't. That helmet's awfully loose.
Took one there for a strike.
You know, I love watching the guy pitch and play because even at age 42, it's still fun to him, and he has just a great time being on the field. A lot of the young guys could learn a lot from him in that regard.
Swing and a miss. And that takes care of New York in the second. No runs ahead, a couple of men left. Jace Peterson leads off for the Braves next.
Mets and the Braves would like to carry some momentum into this game after an 18-hit win last night against the Phillies. They should look no further than Freddie Freeman, who's been able to do so much against the Mets his entire career in our Georgia lottery, hitting the jackpot. Freeman has a career average of 300 against New York, 15 home runs, 63 RBIs, and a .528 slugging percentage. So certainly Freddie hoping that he and the rest of the team can take away from those 18 hits last night and come in, maybe do a little disrupting on the Mets season to begin this series here tonight in Atlanta. Guys?
Thank you, Christina.
Yeah, that'd be fun, Christina, to put a little dent in what they're trying to do. And like I said yesterday after the game, knowing Terry Collins like I do, I know he had a little meeting with these guys, the Mets, before the game about not taking the Braves lightly.
So Jace Peterson leads off the second inning for Atlanta. He'll be followed by Andrelton Simmons and Michael Bourne. And the first pitch in for a strike. Let's not be confused. These aren't the playoffs for Atlanta, but these are the closest thing, Tom, to the playoffs that the Braves are going to get this year.
No, absolutely. You got a chance to play the role of the spoiler. And
there's a shot hit toward right. Granderson with a late charge got there. And there's out number one.
You know, certainly not what your goal was coming into the season, but that's where you are. We always talk, you know, you always talk about, well, what do they have to play for? What do these guys have to play for? What have you? And well, aside from what they're doing on an individual basis, this is a big opportunity for them as a club.
Is it hard being in the situation that the Mets are in with the lead that they are to come in and play a team that struggled like the Braves are at this time of year after the emotional high of playing in Washington?
It is a little bit, you know, but you have to, you got to continue to focus on the task at hand.
And I would imagine running into a man like Shelby Miller helps you understand that pretty quickly.
Yeah, sure. And you're playing a big division rival, so you know, you're at that stage where every win, you're knocking a day off the calendar and making it harder and harder for that team trying to catch you.
The Mets start play tonight with a magic number of 17. Any combination of Mets wins and Nationals losses that add up to 17 means New York wins the East. Washington is idle tonight. And right back where it came from, Andrelton Simmons has the third Braves hit. He's now 10 for 18 against Bartolo Colon.
He had a base hit and a sacrifice fly last night to take part in the offensive outburst. Had a 3-hit game in that series in Philadelphia as well.
So we keep saying that Colon's the ageless wonder. Age 42 and more. He's closing in on Warren Spahn and Cy Young. He needs to get out of this inning to tie them. And he's got the 8 and 9 hitters coming up. Michael Bourne, the 8th place man. Boy, did Michael have a smile on his face last night. A 4-hit night. 2 runs scored, including single runs in the 4th, the 7th, and a 2-run triple in the 8th. Popped him up. Cespedes, plenty of room, and 2 out.
Braves and Mets are tied at 6 games apiece in the season series. And Atlanta is actually 5-1 against New York here at Turner Field.
Yeah, one of the highlights for the Braves this year was a 3-game sweep of the Mets. And remember, that was the 3-game sweep where the Braves beat DeGrom and Harvey. And I believe it was Syndergaard who pitched the middle game. He didn't get the decision, but the Braves won that game.
With all due respect, you almost have to put an asterisk next to it and say before the deadline.
True.
These games after the deadline. Yeah, I think that series, that team that was here from the Mets kind of epitomized their change, because I remember I did that series, and I remember we were talking about just looking at that lineup at the time. David Wright wasn't in there, thinking, where are they going to get any production from? And now it's completely turned around the other way.
And to illustrate the point about the offense, the Braves beat DeGrom 2-1. Matt Whistler won that game. Middle game of the series was 6-4. And then Julio Teheran beat Matt Harvey 1-0.
Well, that's a lot of moss right there.
Yeah, my kind of pitcher. 0-2 for Shelby Miller. Andrelton is deking from first. He didn't go. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He was ready to. If he had gone when he was making that move, he would have stolen second base standing up. But you don't like to run the risk of doing that with the pitcher up there.
In the air to center. And that's going to take care of Atlanta. Bartolo Colon, another scoreless inning. That's 27 in a row at a major league milestone. We go to the 3rd inning.
Let's do this. The Georgia Lottery. And your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places.
No score after 2 innings in Atlanta tonight. And the Braves are excited to announce the first annual University Night here. Eagles Night, Thursday, October 1st. Join your fellow Georgia Southern Eagles for a fun evening at the ballpark, including pregame meet and greets with Georgia Southern greats and a Braves Georgia Southern hat. Go to Braves.com/Southern for more information.
That's cool. They're having each one of the universities honored. That's nice.
And it is college night tonight. A lot of kids have joined us in the upper deck. Should be a lot of fun after the ball game when they get to come down and run the bases. Hopefully after the Braves win game 1.
Yeah, I know there's a big bus load that came over from Athens. Maybe a couple of bus loads.
That's probably why traffic was so bad.
Well, they were on buses carpooling, so it wasn't their fault.
Curtis Granderson struck out swinging to start the game. Second time through the order now for Shelby Miller. And that's in for a strike. Mets are playing a little short-handed tonight, not as far as their playing personnel is concerned, but their coaching personnel. Their terrific pitching coach Dan Worthen wasn't feeling well before the game, and he has been admitted to a local hospital and will spend the night. Up the middle, nearly hit the bag. Simmons makes the play, 1 out. Hope it's nothing serious, and hope Dan can get back to the ballpark here quickly.
Hope he's feeling better and resting comfortably. Good guy. Ricky Bonas, their bullpen coach, has moved into the dugout tonight to help Terry Collins with the pitching staff.
So let's see how eager Cespedes is to offer to pitch on the inner half of the plate.
That's a good point.
I mean, he just got blown up. Breaking ball has him behind in the count. There's Ricky Bonas. He's also been busy as the Mets interpreter for Cespedes and others this season. A 1 count and a ripped foul back. There are some fellows who say that even though Cespedes has been in the National League a month, he deserves consideration for the MVP. I neither agree nor disagree, just reporting what some are saying. Look at those numbers. He certainly has been extremely valuable to the Mets.
That is very impressive because he's doing exactly what they needed him to do.
And Miller just threw it right on by. Shelby's got 4 strikeouts, 2 outs.
Elevated. No chance to catch up to that one.
Lucas Duda walked with 2 outs and was left stranded when Uribe struck out to end the opening inning. I think the point that some of those who mention Cespedes the way they do talk about interleague play and how season numbers get commingled with games against the other league. As we said, Cespedes overall this year 32 homers and 97 runs batted in. Fly ball toward right. Markakis will have a play on a high fly ball. And a 9-pitch inning for Shelby Miller. We'll talk more about Cespedes, the Mets, and the Braves, who have the top of their order coming up, still scoreless in Atlanta. We have just one more road trip left. It'll be to New York and Miami. Thanks to Mahoney and the gang. And there are some of our lovely flight attendants. Alma's here. Sydney was here. Corliss was here. Susan was here. With the rainy weather, maybe they had an early flight tomorrow and had to head for the exits.
I hope that's their excuse.
Yeah.
So we'll catch up with them after we wrap up the homestand, which concludes on the 20th with the Phillies.
One of the things about this, he's now tied with Warren Spahn and Cy Young. I say the Braves get a run before he gets an out. Wouldn't it be really cool if you've got the record? Nobody knows who you've passed and who you're on top of. But if you're tied with Cy Young and Warren Spahn on something, you can tell everybody.
This is true. I don't think he's thinking that way.
Markakis drives it to left. Conforto going back, and he makes a terrific running catch, 2 steps shy of the fence.
It almost changed.
Sure did.
To a tie.
So now he's past those 2 men. And he's wondering how in the world that ball carried as far as it did.
Conforto may be asking the same thing. Nice play.
Here's Oliveira to ground it out to short, so he's 0 for 1 today. A lot of bad weather all around the big leagues tonight. Toronto and the Yankees had a big game scheduled tonight at Yankee Stadium. David Price and Luis Severino were supposed to work, but that game was rained out. They're going to play a doubleheader. First of 7 head-to-head between the Yankees and Blue Jays. Flores, long throw, and Oliveira legs out an infield hit. He's got a 5-game hit streak, and that's the 4th Braves hit.
Well, that was a strong throw by Flores, too. Very Andrelton Simmons-like.
Yeah, he made that closer than I thought it was going to be.
So 1 on, 1 out. And it's Freddie Freeman's turn. He singled the other way. And is now hitting .285 for the year. Let's get Shelby Miller a couple of runs, for crying out loud. No score. 1 ball, no strikes. Texas trying to close in on the Astros in the American League West. Were shut out today 5-0. King Felix Hernandez did the trick. His 4th win against the Rangers this year.
Nice stop. There was something that was not a fastball, and Milwaukee had to do his dead level best to block this changeup. Nicely done.
Cubs and Phillies were rained out in Philadelphia. That was going to be Jake Arrieta and Adam Morgan. Jake Arrieta 18-6. And definitely in the Cy Young consideration. Something off speed, 2 balls and a strike.
Back-to-back changeups.
Yeah, that was a good one there.
Reds 11-0 over the Cardinals. That game's in the 8th. Milwaukee and the Pirates tied 3-3. Pittsburgh has all kinds of trouble with the Brew Crew this year. Another 2-2.
That didn't look like that had the plate. Generous call from Tim Welke.
AJ waits next. Runner goes. Pitch flied into center. Cespedes is there. Makes the grab. Back to first goes Oliveira. And AJ Przinsky strides the plate with 2 outs.
So far, we have not seen any problem with the outfielders and their footing. That was the biggest concern for both the umpires and the managers before the game.
Both managers and umpires alike came out and checked the field twice before they decided it was good to go tonight. We were told 4 inches of rain fell at the ballpark in 90 short minutes. So much rain that the drainage pumps couldn't keep up with the supply.
And the last trip in for any team is in the game is in the hands of the umpire.
But that group did amazing work. I mean, you can hardly tell it rained at all. That's how nice the field looks after Ed Mangan and his great grounds crew got finished.
Well, one of the amazing things tonight was how much water was standing on the outfield. And if you've been at Turner Field, you know that as soon as it stops raining, they start squeegeeing off the tarp. These guys were squeegeeing off the outfield.
Yeah, I was surprised the infield looked as good as it did.
2-0 pitch again to center. And that retires the side. Bartolo Colon just continues to roll merrily along. We head to the 4th inning. Scoreless innings working, and that's part of our game summary tonight, brought to you by our friends at CPI Security.
Good numbers for both guys. Both guys would probably be saying in the dugout, just give me a run or two, see what happens. That's what Shelby has. He's probably got it on tape somewhere.
He's probably quit asking.
Yeah.
These are big innings, big games for Bartolo Colon. With Matt Harvey shut down, he's probably going to make just 2 more starts, say the Mets. 1 against the Yankees, 1 against the Nationals, if that game against Washington is meaningful at the end of the season. And there's talk the Mets might try to skip Jacob deGrom as well. He's at 176 innings or thereabouts, has never pitched 200 before, and they want to make sure that they take care of him down the stretch.
You know, if they're in a position where they can do that, probably not a bad idea.
And Uribe bangs one up the middle, and he's got a leadoff hit. That's the 2nd hit of the night for New York.
I think that series sweep in Washington did a lot for the Mets, not just in the standings, but for the rest of the season in terms of what you're saying, Tommy, being able to set up just about anything they want because they're not under the gun to have to win every game for the next week or so anyway.
I mean, that's the best of all possible worlds. Big lead. You can rest your starters, manipulate your bullpen, manipulate your staff, get your bench settled the way you like it. I mean, exactly right. Terry Collins and his club sitting in the catbird seat here on September the 10th. Michael Conforto rolled out to second his first time up. No balls and a strike. was a season-changing series against Washington. As Joe mentioned, 3 comeback wins for New York. The Mets capitalized on 14 runs against the Nationals bullpen from the 7th inning on and gave up only 1 of their own in that 3-game series. And the season series really turned around in late July. Mets, in fact, have beaten the Nats 6 consecutive times.
Outscored the Nats 14-1 in the last 3 innings. And their bullpen did a great job once they were able to come from behind and get those leads.
That was a great series for their bullpen.
And Juris Familia is a beast at the end of the game, isn't he? Well hit Conforto to left. Swisher on the run, tracks it down. And Cespedes, or excuse me, Uribe will scramble back to first. And he's safely back with 1 man out. Shoes got me. He's wearing the same cleats as Cespedes. Saw the orange flashing and thought it was Yoenis.
That one was slicing back to Nick. That helped him run that down.
So Wilmer Flores bats. First Mets middle infielder with 16 or more homers since Jose Reyes had 16 in 2008. And he strokes that one towards center. And an easy catch for Bourne. 2 out.
I love Flores' setup. I love his swing. It's very simple. It's mostly a short stride and let his hands do the work. And then he's got height. He's 6'3", very tall for a shortstop, and got great leverage. Just turns that heel up, puts it back down, and then the hands work.
Yeah, that's about as simple as you can get right there.
Beautiful.
Kelly Johnson bats. I think everybody in Braves country was really sad to see Kelly go. You understand the business side of baseball, but things really have turned out great for him in New York. Roller foul at first, and it's 0-2.
He was telling me that they have a great clubhouse. Great guys. Everybody is naturally very excited about what they have in front of them and the prospects they have in front of them, but the addition of Cespedes to their lineup and getting David Wright back has just really made these guys feel great about what their chances are.
That was an excellent pitch.
Yeah. Now see if he follows it up with something soft and away.
Tried to.
Tried to.
But it's low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Kelly's homer yesterday against Steven Strasburg, his 2nd career pinch hit homer, his 1st since 2008. And he hit that home run off Jorge Sosa. As we know, dazzled on the banks of the Miccosukee Canal so many years ago. The pitch.
Not to be confused with Kevin Willis.
So Uribe will be off to the races with a full count. No score. We're in the 4th inning. There he goes. And a check swing roller. That's going to be a tough play. Shelby slips and slides, and Kelly Johnson's aboard with a 2-out swinging bunt.
Almost an afterthought swing. Cutter biting in on him. Great pitch. Bad result.
Yep. And best thing about that play is that he didn't throw it down the right field line.
Yeah.
Well, the Braves walked Plawecki in the 2nd inning. That was with one man aboard. You've got first and second. Base open is third base, and Bartolo Colon's on deck. Plawecki, 2 homers, 17 knocked in. One of 3 catchers that the Mets have on their roster. Anthony Recker and Travis d'Arnaud, the other 2. He was up for a while. Remember, d'Arnaud got hurt against the Braves when A.J. Pierzynski ran into him on a tag play at the plate. d'Arnaud hurt his elbow on that play and missed a good amount of time. 1 ball, no strikes. And Shelby missed 2-0.
Good pitch. See there on Fox Tracks.
In the air, right center field. That's going to get down for a hit. 1 run scores. Here comes Kelly Johnson around third. They're going to wave him. Jace Peterson won't have a throw. And the 8th place hitter Plawecki gives the Mets a 2-0 lead with a double to the right center field gap.
Check swing single keeps the inning alive. And getting results and production from everybody on their roster. Michael Bourne's momentum carried him to a point where he couldn't quite stop and get it back in quick enough.
So Uribe and Kelly Johnson, the former Braves, have scored the first 2 runs. Are you surprised they pitched to the 8th place hitter even with 2 on?
No, I don't have any problem with it. I don't necessarily love that pitch selection with 2-0 count. You know, I still think you treat it as you have a base open. Try to make him hit something other than a fastball in a hitter's count. But
now Bartolo Colon shoots one into center. Plawecki around third. He's coming home. Simmons' throw to the plate is late. Bartolo Colon has his 8th hit. It's an RBI single, and it's 3-0.
Fourth RBI of the year. Nothing cheap about that.
So career highs in hits and RBIs for Bartolo Colon. And the Mets have jumped out 3-0.
I didn't have any problem with pitching to Plawecki either. I agree with Tom on the pitch selection. If they had walked him, okay, that's fine too. But you got to understand it's different than walking him with first base open and a runner at second. You walk him and load the bases up. Wild pitch gets a run in, an error gets a run in, all kinds of other things could go wrong as well, compared to having first and second.
Yeah, clearly a different situation, and unfortunately for Shelby, a different result. Back-to-back hits have plated 3 New York runs with 2 outs. And now bouncing ball to Freeman at first. He'll spear that, and that will retire the side. Plawecki and Colon have big RBI hits for the Mets, who jump in front by 3. National League after winning 2 games last week. Well, here's one reason why. Look at this great play against the Marlins.
He's doing it all, and much to the amusement of his whole team. Last 7 starts, he's gone 4-1. He's something else.
And so he's jumped in front 3-0 tonight.
The first 20 starts there, didn't he get off to like a 6 or 7-0 start in the season?
He was rolling.
Yeah, he got off to a good start.
And then he really dipped.
First 20 starts, he threw 100 pitches once. Team went 9-11 in his first 20 starts. Last 7 games, the Mets have won 5 of those 7 games. He's pitched 100 pitches 4 times. And again, the key to that is saving innings for the bullpen, which is always a concern with the innings limits of Matt Harvey and Syndergaard and Matz, who's now back, and Jonathan Neese et al. In rotation for New York.
Got off to a 6-1 start, I'm told.
So he's got a 3-run lead. He's got the 5, 6, 7 hitters up for the Braves here in the 4th. Swisher, Peterson, and Andrelton Simmons.
If you thought you saw some fastballs before, now watch.
3-run lead. It's coming at you.
Don't expect a walk. It almost never happens with Colon on the mound. (173 innings). I believe it's 21 walks for Bartolo Colon this year. That's the case. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He's got 14 starts this year without a walk.
And Swisher's down on strikes. A 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
Heard back for a little extra on that one.
His first of the night.
We were talking about what benefit that suite does for their staff and how they can rest some guys if they want to. And talking to Terry Collins today about that Matt Harvey situation, among other things he said with respect to their trying to control his innings, is that we have to understand he hasn't pitched that long in professional baseball, and the most innings he had pitched was the year before he got hurt. He threw 178 innings for the Mets, so he'd never even
to left. Conforto on the track.
He had never crossed that 200 inning threshold. Didn't even come close. So that's another reason why they're trying to. He's kind of at his career high. So that's another reason why they're watching.
From Terry Collins' perspective, has that thing blown over, Joe, or is that still kind of a festering, bubbling thing between the fans, the media, the Mets, and Matt Harvey?
No, we didn't talk about that.
No.
So I can't answer it.
Well, it certainly was a huge topic in New York last week. And Matt's last start against the Nationals maybe reflected that distraction. He did not pitch well at all against the Nationals, but they did come back and win that game in dramatic fashion. It was the Nice home run game. Bouncing ball to third. Uribe's got it, and a strike to first. 3 up, 3 down for Atlanta in the 4th. Mets lead 3-0. Use hashtag SouthDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. 3 Mets runs in the 4th inning. A double by Kevin Plawecki and an RBI hit by Bartolo Colon has extended the Mets lead to 3-0. And now Shelby Miller has to mow him down again and hold him right there. He's got Cespedes, Duda, and Uribe coming up. And a strike. Big news for Cespedes a couple of days ago. There was a clause in his contract that required the Mets, if they didn't re-sign him within 5 days at the end of the World Series, they had to release him from his contract. As this one's popped up, and A.J. Pierzynski will make the play. And in doing so, there would be no ability for the Mets to re-sign Cespedes until mid-May. That clause was wiped away. And so the Mets will be able to get involved in the bidding with Cespedes just like everybody else once the World Series ends. And he's one of our subjects at the Home Depot duels from the dugout.
And I would assume that the Mets would welcome that opportunity given what he's done for them. He and Wilmer Flores have been red hot.
That's a good business move.
Yes.
Keep the Mets in the market.
Yeah. Well, it was agreed to by the Players Association, the Commissioner's Office, Cespedes and his representatives, and there's precedent for it before. Nori Aoki had a similar issue in his free agent year. And ultimately that benefits everybody. So we'll see where Cespedes ends up. No question about it. With each passing day, he is increasing his value. A walk and a flyout for Lucas Duda tonight. He too was plagued with a bad back. That was a scare for New York. And he takes low, ball 2.
They need this guy to be right as they get closer to postseason. They've got these other guns that are firing, but sure would be nice to have this guy from the left side in there every day doing what he was doing before he got hurt. May take him a few more games.
Duda hitting .305 against left-handed pitchers now. 5 homers, 13 RBIs. That is a dramatic improvement. That's what's made him an everyday player for New York. They don't have to platoon him. They can turn him loose against everybody. And you're right, Joe. When he's right, he is something else. .30 homer man last year. And he strokes that one into right field for a solid single. Last year, Duda hit .180 against lefties. So from .180 to .305 in one calendar year is great work. So Uribe bats. He singled and scored the first Mets run. Juan picked up a milestone hit August 12th, his 1500th major league hit. And he just got smoked. Miller tried to pitch him inside and hit him right on the left side.
I mean, that was right in the ribs.
That one hurt.
Comes with the territory when you pitch inside. I know he didn't intend to hit his old teammate, but sometimes that happens. For Shelby, just the fifth hit batsman of the year.
Now the lefty Conforto is up. 2 on, 1 out. And that's low, ball 1. Braves bullpen begins to work.
There's a little bit of the two guys in the pen loosening up. There's a little bit of Chipper Jones stance and bat waggle in Conforto. Chipper, with timing wise, kind of throw the bat forward as he started to step in. At least left-handed. He doesn't have a toe tap. If we work on that toe tap, we think we got it.
I'll say Kevin Long, you better work on that. They're going to get him kicked out of New York if he does anything.
Yeah.
Like Chipper Jones other than hit. Popped up back toward the press box.
Anybody make a play over there?
If there was a play made, it was made by Adrian. Nobody else would have come close to it.
Yeah, she had everybody boxed out over there. Jay Horowitz gave it a shot. Longtime Mets PR man. Two and two. Timing great for Conforto to come up to the big league club. As a player from Double-A, he didn't have to be the offensive savior. He could just fit right in. The acquisitions of Uribe and Kelly Johnson, the return of David Wright, of course, the acquisition of Cespedes.
Yeah, get him a taste of the big leagues, get him a taste of playoff atmospheres and September pennant runs. Good experience for him.
And for all the heat that Sandy Alderson took, it was a masterstroke the way that he worked the deadline. He got exactly what the Mets needed and got Cespedes for a far lower price than he would have had to pay to get Carlos Gomez from Milwaukee. Excellent work by Sandy Alderson, and now Terry Collins. As this one's hit high in the air down the left field line, slicing though, and that's in the Mets bullpen. Almost got Tyler Clippard, I think.
Got his chair.
Pitch number 8 coming for Conforto from Miller here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And double play ball. Peterson to Simmons for 1. And the throw to first in plenty of time. Big pitch for Shelby. He gets out of 5th inning trouble, and he's due second in the home half of the inning. Braves country, we're taking it back to the 90s with 90s night this Wednesday, September 16th. The Braves will take on the Blue Jays. Good to be here for that, Tommy?
No.
No.
Can we borrow some of your clothes? Because we know you got some.
I do, but I don't really know what was the 90s. What was
mullet?
Oh, I had that.
Well, maybe we can borrow that. Ticket packs start as low as $24. They include your very own pair of Braves. Zubaz. How do you say that? Zubaz? Zubaz pants. All right. Along with access to an exclusive 90s themed pregame party. Visit Braves.com/Zubaz to secure your tickets today.
Notice how Brian Woodrum let you know right away what it's called. He's got like 9 pair.
Yes, he does. And for our friends visiting from Toronto, we promise to have the flag pointing in the right direction. The Canadian flag, that is. As Michael Bourne leads off against Cologne, who leads 3-0. That is going to be a stern test for this young Braves pitching staff, the Toronto Blue Jays, and that offense. We've talked a lot about what the Mets have done in the National League since the trading deadline. The exact same thing is true for Toronto and their offense with Bautista and Encarnacion and Troy Tulowitzki and more.
That's a pretty potent offense, to say the least.
2-2 for Bourne. It'll be our second series with the Blue Jays this year. And that ball's in the air to left. Conforto had him played perfectly. There's out number 1.
Yeah,
there you go.
That would fit right in.
Yep.
Probably had a pair of those pants.
Sure. Is that what? What was this? Hammer.
Yeah, MC Hammer.
Is that what he wore?
I don't know. It's a
Can't
good
touch
question.
this.
Yeah.
Do you know MC Hammer used to be a bat boy in Oakland?
I do.
The bat
Mrs.
boy.
Field used to be a ball girl.
Right, and turned that into a chocolate chip cookie empire. Yeah, Shelby stays in the game and is down 2 strikes. First series with Toronto, Braves took 2 out of 3 up at Rogers Center. Should have swept them. Let game 2 get away 6-5. Toronto trying to hold off the Yankees in the American League East. The Yankees were rained out today, as we mentioned. It's a 1.5 lead for Toronto. Doubleheader tomorrow. David Price will pitch in one of those games. And Miller's down on strikes. 7 straight set down by Cologne. He's got 2 punch outs tonight. And we go to the top and Nick Markakis.
In case you've been wondering, Bartolo Colon, 217 wins in the big leagues, 152 losses, and a career ERA of 3.97. He's 4-0 in this ballpark.
Strike 2 to Markakis.
One of the things you've got to like about the Mets too, we're seeing a lineup today, but again we go back to the fact that Wright's not playing, Murphy's not playing, Lagares is not playing. They've got a deep bench right now that they can use any way they want.
Yeah, if you're looking for a silver lining to all the injuries, it's those extra players got a lot of playing time and experience. And ready for action if Terry Collins needs them. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Flores diving stop to his left. A gorgeous play to rob Nick Markakis. Leathered larceny by Wilmer Flores ends the Atlanta 5th. 3-0 New York.
3-0. I had the chance to catch up with AJ Pierzynski before the game and ask him about the mentality and the motivation maybe going into this series against the Mets as they try to win the division. He said right now it's really not about who we are playing. We're out there trying to make ourselves better, play for ourselves, improve any way we can. Obviously we want to get Shelby a win, but he said as cliche as it sounds, every night it's about focusing on just getting one win and finishing the season strong, guys.
And they took a step toward that with a good series against the Phillies, winning 2 out of 3 at Citizens Bank. But so far, Bartolo Colon's firing a 4-hit shutout at Atlanta and is up to 20, make that 30 consecutive scoreless innings. He's added an RBI hit as well. 1 ball, 1 strike. Swinging bunt by Wilmer Flores. Shelby Miller fell down. And Flores is going to reach. Hope Shelby's all right.
His feet just go out from under him?
I think so.
Yeah, his right foot slipped on the mound. Right foot right there.
So an infield hit for Flores, and Kelly Johnson hits. He's 2 for 2. He has an infield hit tonight.
And that was a huge infield hit. Kelly Johnson's.
Came with 2 outs. Then Plawecki followed with a 2-run double.
Kelly was on a check swing too. Looked like a cutter. It moved right in on his hands. Tried to stop his swing. But it was placed perfectly.
So we've talked a lot all night about what we like about this Mets team. Is there anything about this Mets club that concerns you as they move toward a possible division championship and a first-round playoff matchup?
Well, I mean, they're pretty young and experienced in their rotation. You know, I mean, that would be probably the only thing. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
It's like for me watching a new ball club tonight versus what we saw earlier this year, the first 12 games of the season against Atlanta. So I'd like to reserve judgment until Sunday. How's that? See how they play in this series. That Matt Harvey distraction's not going to go away. It's going to hang around. But that's not a uniform problem. That's not an on the field playing deficiency.
Does it bother you that they're 0-7 against the Cubs, 0-6 against the Pirates, and a game under against the Cardinals head to head? I mean, they've feasted against bad teams, but the good teams giving them some trouble.
Doesn't bother me because they don't have to beat them to get in the tournament.
Popped up. Markakis in right's going to handle this one off the bat of Kelly Johnson, and there's the first out.
They do have some games left with Cincinnati, I believe, but no one else in that division.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you worry about, I guess, a little bit if you end up in the playoffs and have a head-to-head matchup with them. But even if you get there, I don't think you worry about it. You know, it's a clean slate.
3 with the Yankees. I mean, that's always a big back page tabloid series, as you know. And they're hoping that those final 3 against the Nationals don't mean anything.
Yeah, in an ideal world. And maybe even before that.
Yeah.
Big hit for Plawecki tonight. And he fouls the first one back. And he's down a strike. It's 0-1. Just past 11 o'clock in Atlanta. We're midway through our ball game. We had a 2-hour and 20-minute rain delay before a pitch was thrown tonight. An old-fashioned frog strangler dumped 4 inches of rain on Turner Field in 90 minutes.
Frog strangler, does that mean it rained a lot?
It rained a lot. So our stat man Alejandro Jenkins is working on a picture that we sent him. Show you the field during the rain delay. Looked like Lake Lanier. No balls and a strike. Tied him up 0-2.
A lot of high fastballs. One that was high and tight that he fouled off, but it was right off his thumbs. Might be time for a slider.
Good call. And Plawecki didn't get it. He's the second out. And that'll bring up Bartolo Colon. This was the scene at the ballpark around 6:30 tonight. That sheen you see in the outfield is standing water.
I've never seen that much water on this field.
I have never seen that much water on this field either. It couldn't handle it to drain it fast enough.
But everything looks pristine and proper in the 6th inning tonight. As Joe mentioned, we've seen very few issues with the outfielders slipping and sliding. And from the Mets perspective, well, from both managers' perspective, but certainly for the Mets, they don't want anybody getting hurt.
No.
And that's why the umpires and the managers were so careful in evaluating the playing surface, not once but twice, before everyone agreed to play the game.
You know, the umpires went out there, I'll say around 8:30, 8:45, and with the managers, and both pitchers were out ready to start warming up. They called both pitchers in, and it was like they were saying, let's give it another half hour to see if it drains a little better, dries up a little more. And then they went back out and decided it was going to be okay for play.
Two balls and a strike for Bartolo Colon. Two and two. Look like Bartolo's going to swing the bat.
I don't think he plans to.
Don't want to see Granderson in this inning. This might be the last hitter Shelby's allowed to face, with a pitch count over 108 now. Ground ball to short. Simmons charged, and he will take his sweet time, and that retires Bartolo Colon. No runs, a hit, and one man left. Oliveira, Freeman, and AJ are coming up. 3-0 New York. the 6th inning, and here is our Zaxby's indescribably good stat. Bartolo Colon's scoreless streak is now at 30 consecutive.
There's a name you haven't heard much about, Giovanni Gallardo, who got traded to Texas from Milwaukee this year. He'd been Milwaukee's ace for several years, and then after Yu Darvish got hurt, I thought, well, man, that turned out to be a great pickup, and still haven't heard much about him, but there he is showing up with 33-plus scoreless innings working, and combined with Cole Hamels, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch for the Rangers.
Really good. Seems like there's been more of those long streaks this year than any years that I can remember.
Stands to reason. Everyone talks about this being the era of the pitcher. Offenses are down, generally speaking, in baseball. It's certainly down for Atlanta in 2015. Just 4 hits tonight against Bartolo Colon. And Olivera will lead off for the Braves. An infield hit in one of his 2 trips tonight. 18 hits last night, just 4 for Atlanta in Game 1 against the Mets. Victory came over the Phillies last night. They made big news today. If you didn't hear, Ruben Amaro was told his contract would not be extended past this season. Ruben Amaro, the architect of the Phillies World Championship season, and the man charged with dismantling that aged and expensive roster, was let go today by Andy McPhail, and immediate search has begun for his full-time replacement. Scott Profrock has taken over as the interim general manager.
Did you think it was odd timing?
Yeah, a little bit. And there were some who thought that with the terrific trades that Ruben Amaro pulled off with the Rangers, that, hey, you know, we got some good players here. Let's see if maybe he can turn things around. But apparently Ruben Amaro is the only guy from the baseball operations staff that was let go. Everybody else is staying. And Andy McPhail said that they needed to move into a new direction.
Yeah, we don't have any idea about how the interactions of their office was working, but given that he had cleared the decks of a lot of that salary that everybody said he needed to do, with the exception of Ryan Howard, I thought that he might at least get to finish the end of the season. But who knows? I mean, I don't know. Again, what happens there? Maybe he was saying he wanted a contract extension, and they said no, and that was that.
There are some who say that the Phillies have really failed to adapt with the current trend in baseball, and that is the increased use of baseball analytics and metrics and sabermetrics and all that. Whether you like it or not, that is a huge trend in baseball and how players are evaluated and such. And it is thought that the Phillies might be looking towards a leader of their baseball operations staff that is more inclined to utilize that methodology. But no doubt about it, that's going to be an attractive job. They have a huge TV contract. They're going to have a lot of money to spend. And if you can recharge that fan base, which just a few short years ago was selling out Citizens Bank Ballpark every night, you've got a chance to be a hero there in pretty short order. As Freeman hits with 1 out. And a pop fly foul. And let's be honest, too, the National League East isn't exactly the powerhouse division of Major League Baseball. You make a couple of moves there, and all of a sudden you might be in the thick of things in a year, maybe less than a year.
Yeah, I agree. There's not, it's not like you've got teams that are just so far out of it. Like I say, you make a couple of smart moves, and I mean, we see it every year in baseball. Somebody comes out of nowhere.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And that's taken low, full count.
Mets are on their way tonight. If they win tonight, that'll be 79 wins. It's not like the Cardinals, who are closing in on 100 wins if they just play 500 ball. I don't know how many wins the Mets will wind up with. But it's not like, as you said, Chip, it's not like somebody who just dominated the division all year long that everybody's got to catch next year.
That's a rarity. A Bartolo Colon base on balls. He puts Freeman on in front of A.J. Przinsky. Well, to illustrate your point, if the Pittsburgh Pirates played in our division, they'd be in first place. The Mets wouldn't be. If the Chicago Cubs played in our division, they'd be in first place, not the New York Mets. So the 3 best teams in the National League are all in the Central. And assuming all 3 of them make the playoffs, At the end of the day, only one of those teams is going to advance after the wild card game is played. Pittsburgh with a 3-game lead over the Cubs in the wild card. Pirates are in a 3-3 game with Milwaukee tonight. And they have a lot of games head to head with Chicago, so that wild card top spot is far from settled too. No balls and a strike. And I think it's safe to say too that the Cardinals don't feel all that comfortable with a 4-game lead in their division, and they got bombarded by the Reds 11-0 today. A lot of things can change here over the last 3.5 weeks. 0-2 for AJ. Freeman at first. 3-0. Mets lead it. And a roller right side. Duda's got it. There's one. Throw to first. Colon got to the bag. It's a double play. Don't be fooled by the buxom Bartolo Colon. He is a terrific athlete. He got to the first base bag, and the Mets complete the 3-6-1 inning-ending double play, and this game goes 2-7. Tonight.
All started, all the runs in the 4th inning. Leadoff single by Uribe, a 2-out check swing single by Kelly Johnson really set the tone. Plawecki came through with a double into right center that brought both of them home. And then Bartolo Colon came through with a single of his own to plate the 3rd run of the inning.
That has chased Shelby Miller. The Braves starter went 6 innings tonight, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, a hit batter. And he'll give way to Ross Detweiler, who could use a good outing. Braves bullpen has seen a lot of action, and in the month of September they've had a tough time of it. 22 earned runs in 35 1/3 innings, including 5 homers, a 5.60 team ERA in relief, 2nd highest monthly ERA this year. August was the low water point at 6.72.
Ross had a tough string of games, gave up runs in 4 straight outings, beginning with the Yankees. But his last time out a couple of days ago against Philadelphia, 2/3 of an inning, no runs or hits.
A strike to Granderson, who is 0 for 3 tonight. And that almost hit him on the way by. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I don't know how it did.
I don't either.
Tied him up inside, but it missed. Full count. The Mets are doing tonight what they have been doing very consistently. They've won 16 of the last 21 road games, and they've scored 3 or more runs now in 30 consecutive games. 3's been enough for him tonight, and Granderson walks to lead off the 7th inning.
AJ, prior to that pitch, I'm not sure what the concern was, but he was looking in the dugout and then kind of pointing toward Detweiler like he thought there might be something wrong with him. I'm not sure. I'm just speculating. And came off that right foot. And that's what AJ was pointing to the dugout about. More on Shelby Miller here, guys. Chan looked this up about his work at home, and we know about the season-long struggles, but I didn't know this was going on. He's 2-7 for the year at home coming into this game, but in his last 10 starts, now make it last 11. We don't know what the outcome of this one's going to be, but counting tonight, he's 0-6 in his last 11 home starts, and 7 of those 11, 0 runs of support while he's been in the game. 7 of 11, no runs to work with.
Tough to win that way.
Yeah, kinda. It's kind of hard.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Bouncing ball foul past third. Tom and I were talking about this subject before the game. There is a trend in baseball, fellas, to try to eliminate the win for a major league pitcher. Some say it's a meaningless stat. I've made my views on it known very clearly. They point to Shelby Miller as a great example of, looking at his 1-loss record, it doesn't tell the whole story about how well Shelby Miller has pitched, and those numbers that Joe just gave are terrific evidence of that. As that ball is crushed.
Goodness.
But foul deep into the Mets bullpen. 1-2. So I'll tee it up for you two. Pitchers wins. Is it still a valid stat? And what, if you get rid of the win, do you evaluate a pitcher on?
Well, you'd be hard pressed to get me to tell you that wins are not a valid start, but hey, good question. What do you evaluate it on? You know, it's like you and I talked about. We were talking about, other than innings pitched, every stat in the game is subjective. You know, I mean, particularly from a pitcher standpoint. Again, you want to judge him by ERA. Well, what about the scorekeeper on the road that gives his team a homer call? It should have really been a play that should have been made, and 5 earned runs later, now your ERA takes a hit. You know, I mean, everything's subjective like that. There's not a stat per se that just tells the whole story. Other than, like I said, you get a guy that goes out there and makes 36 starts and pitches 220 plus innings. Okay, yeah, he's had a good year. I don't care what his record is, but I'd be willing to bet that if he does that, he's going to have a pretty good year win-loss wise.
I thought that's why ERA was invented, was to balance that, you know,
right.
100 years ago or more, to balance a guy that may have a bad win-loss record, but you check his ERA out. No, he pitched pretty well. He just had some bad luck somewhere along the way. Shelby Miller is that guy this year. So why is there a need to invent new stuff if the other stuff was working? I don't get that unless it's people who are just trying to justify a new position.
Well, I think that's part of it.
Full count pitch and golf foul.
So we got insiders trying to justify what they do, and now we got sabermetrics or these metrics guys trying to say, wait a minute, I've come up with something new I think is brilliant. I invented it.
I'm trying to go 2 for 2 and get you both stirred up tonight. But I thought, Tommy, you made a great point. Let's talk about Shelby Miller. This is not in any way, shape, or form an indictment of Shelby Miller. I think he's pitched great for the Braves this year, and it is a crazy aberration when you look at his numbers in 2015. But if you look at Shelby Miller's body of work this year, and to your point that you made earlier, using that wins don't matter stat, by that standard, Shelby Miller should be in the Cy Young discussion.
Absolutely.
And do you think that's a reasonable argument?
Not based on the way we currently judge things,
right.
But you know, look, there again, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can look at the top 10 guys in ERA starting pitching wise in either league, and that number, I'm sorry, it doesn't tell the whole story. It doesn't. You know, there's been some benefits of some calls that maybe went your way on an error or a base hit, and there were calls that went against you on errors and base hits. So I mean, it's still, there's not a perfect stat, but again, I mean, give me something else, because I don't know what else you're going to use.
Well, I think the point that we made is Detweiler's going to come out of the ball game is using your Game 6 in the World Series. Everyone knows about the home run that David Justice hit. In my opinion, the reason the Braves were able to win that game was you prevented the other team from scoring runs. It's about run prevention more so than anything else, and the really good pitchers prevent more runs, and that is something that is directly in a pitcher's control.
Right,
you don't give up walks and hits, you're going to win.
Absolutely. So I mean, again, conversely, then, if you go out there and go 8 innings and give up 1 run and lose 1-0, should you get a loss? You did your job. I mean, you gave your team more than a chance to win that game. So,
right.
So why are you tagged with a loss? You know, I mean, it's just, I agree with Joe's point, and I've said it. I think it's people who are trying to reinvent things because they're trying to make themselves more relevant, maybe. I mean, look, I think there's a place for sabermetrics in this game. I am not a huge sabermetrics guy, but I think there is a place for it. But to me, this just sounds like one of those things where these are the over-the-top sabermetrics people that are trying to make themselves more relevant. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that'll make some people mad, but you know, it just seems that way.
Let's shift it over to the hitting for just a second. We talked about this earlier today too, and that has to do with something I read from someone who was advocating that it's not a big deal to drive in 100 runs. It's that person had that many opportunities to drive in 100 runs, and they took advantage of it. And you made a good point. That type of logic sounds like, okay, well, that means then if there were that many opportunities in that spot in the batting order, then I could have hit anyone in that spot in the order, and they'd have driven in 100 runs.
Right.
And that's not
right.
the case.
Absolutely. And you know, like we said, no knock on Jace Peterson, but you're telling me if Jace Peterson hit third in the Braves lineup, he'd drive in as many runs as Freddie Freeman does, because he's getting those opportunities to drive guys in where he's not hitting where he is?
No.
I'd be hard pressed to believe that. But you know, I think that's where sometimes you get guys, you know, myself, and I had so many of these discussions with Bobby Cox and, you know, kind of the old school people. That's where sometimes you just have to be able to watch the game and know who the guys are that can play and evaluate that way, regardless of what numbers may or may not tell you.
And that's why scouts are still very important. You got to have scouts putting eyeballs on people to see how they play, see how they go about their business, see what kind of heart they've got when they're playing in a game where you're getting beat real bad. Are they still into it? Are they still playing hard? Analytics are never going to show you that. They may show you some numbers that you hadn't thought of before. That's all well and good. That's, you know, that'll help in those analyses later on for talent evaluation.
And it seems to me that you really have two armies of thought. You have the old school guys who are called old-fashioned, head in the sand past tense guys by the newfangled sabermetrics guys, who are called the guys who live in mom's basements and the nerds or what have you. Really, what it comes down to is there has to be.
Yeah,
that was Joe. What it has to come down to is there has to be context. And I think we've been very clear when we watch Shelby Miller pitch. We in no way have said he's having a bad year. We've said he's had a great year, and the reason his numbers are what they are is because, well, there are some factors that have not been in his control. 11 games with no runs this year is one of them.
So he's allowed 2 earned runs or less in 22 of his starts, which is second to Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke's got, what, 16 wins?
Right. So
arguably, Shelby Miller could easily be in that company. But you know what? Hasn't worked out for him that way this year. That doesn't mean he's had nobody's saying that he's had a bad year. The person who's saying that Shelby Miller is having a bad year is the person that opens up the stats and says, oh, this guy's 5-13. He's having an awful year.
Right.
Well, there's nothing sabermetrics-wise you can come up with to make that guy think that somebody's having a better year than maybe you think they are.
So it's all about context. As Andrew McKirahan takes over for Ross Detweiler, who left with what appeared to be a leg problem. And Lucas Duda hits one in the air to left. And Swisher's going to catch that. And no advance by the runners. There's the first out in the New York 7th.
Well, that was an interesting meeting on the mound. Jim Lovell came out. It looked like Ross was saying, no, I'm okay. He was shaking his head no, like he was okay. Freddie walked off the mound, was headed to the dugout. And before he got to the first baseline, it was like, no, I'm going to take him out anyway.
Yeah, he changed his mind.
Changed his mind and made the move anyway. Obviously it went in the books as an injury pull because McKirahan was given all the time he needed to loosen up.
And he retired Duda. Now he faces Juan Uribe, who bats with sore ribs after Shelby Miller popped him in the 5th inning, unintentionally, of course. Uribe also has a single and a run scored tonight.
Yeah, Juan's going to feel that one for a while.
One ball, no strikes. Broken bat, fly ball is going to get down into shallow left field. Bourne's got it. The throw will come into second. A run will score. And Juan Uribe back in Atlanta is hurting the Braves again. An RBI single that brings home Curtis Granderson, and the Mets extend their lead. Guys, I think it's safe to say as we evaluate the Braves now in August and September, one of the big jobs that John Hart, John Cappolello, Freddie Gonzalez, and Roger McDowell are going to have to work on is rebuilding this bullpen. You have such a young starting staff, and with the inconsistencies that come along with that, many times this year we've seen close games evaporate very quickly once that bullpen gate swings open. And there's a lot of inexperience down there too.
And I agree. I mean, I think you can look at offensively and make an argument that 1 or 2 guys inserted in this lineup next year makes a big difference. You look at their starting rotation and you say, man, they're close. You know, they got some good guys, they got some good arms. But with the inconsistency that's gone on with this bullpen for the last 6-8 weeks, you know, to me, that's the one area that you look at and kind of scratch your head and go, where do they go? Where do they start?
That's the big thing there right now for Freddie is and has been.
Double play ball by Conforto. Simmons will unload and get his man at first.
With the exception of Vizcaino at the end of the game, who's been very good. On any given night, Freddie doesn't know where to go to get those outs.
The game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to #SouthDataStrongFan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by T-Mobile. Hope Lisa Lynn had a nice time at the ball game tonight.
And fans, don't miss out on a free post-game concert by one of the hottest new stars in country music, Sam Hunt, presented by Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines on Thursday, October the 1st, when the Braves take on the Nationals. Tickets are going fast. Visit Braves.com/Sam Hunt to buy your tickets today.
Nick Swisher leads off the home 7th. He's 0 for 2. Bartolo Colon, 6 scoreless innings tonight. He's got a couple of strikeouts, only 1 walk. And that one cracked down the right field line, but out of play by Swisher. Quite frankly, I didn't know what we were going to get out of Nick Swisher when the Braves made the deal to bring him and Michael Bourne from Cleveland. Nick's had a lot of injury problems. Both knees have been operated on. Didn't know if he could play the outfield. We knew he could play first base and pinch hit. But we've seen very few issues with Nick defensively in the outfield. And he's swinging a hot bat for the Braves. For a team looking for offense any place they can get it, if you hit, you're going to play. Play by Nick again. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, he almost came up with a real good catch tonight, diving for that double that Kelly Johnson hit in the left field corner.
That's high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jace Peterson, Andrelton Simmons are coming up next. Line into center field. A vicious single off the bat of Nick Swisher.
Well, that sounded nice, didn't it? That breaking ball. You know, Nick's not a whole lot unlike Colon in this respect. Here's the pitch again. In that he comes to the park looking forward to playing too. He has a great joy in playing. He's intense, but he has a good time too.
Ricky Bonas, the acting pitching coach for the Mets tonight. Dan Warthen, we hope, resting comfortably in hospital in Atlanta tonight. Don't know the nature of Dan's illness, but hope it's nothing serious and hope he's back real soon. More the same from Bartolo Colon. Setting him up and knocking him down. He's allowed five hits tonight. Ball 2.
Doing it predominantly with his fastball, like we talked about.
84% of the time he throws fastball.
But it's more than just one pitch, right? I mean, he changes velocities on it so effectively, and Joe, as you said, puts it in all 4 quadrants. That's a whole lot of pitches off one pitch. Two balls, 2 strikes.
I don't recall a time tonight, and maybe he has, but I don't recall a time where Plawecki's called for a fastball away and he's missed to the other side of the plate. If he misses to the same side of the plate as the target.
Wind picking up, blowing toward right. And Jace hits one toward right. That is a fair ball and into the corner. Swisher around third is getting green lighted. The throw's going to come in towards second, and Jace Peterson has brought home the first Atlanta run, and that's the end of Bartolo Colon's scoreless streak. It's 4-1 now.
Change up.
Yeah, try to go in and left it up.
Jace stayed back enough, put good wood on it. 51st RBI for Jace
on a triple, and that brings Ricky Bones to the mound. There is action in the New York bullpen. Dario Alvarez is the lefty. Eric Goodell is the righty.
And again, they probably going to stay away from both Clippard and Familia. They're 8th and 9th inning guys tonight.
They are a little short-handed in this regard. Carlos Torres is out with a calf problem. They don't know when he'll be back. Bobby Parnell's been hammered out of the bullpen, as has Eric O'Flaherty, the former Brave. He's in the New York pen. Let's see if Atlanta can edge closer. It's Simmons' turn. Runner at third, nobody out. And he's going to dump one into shallow right field. It's a 4-2 game. Andrelton Simmons has 11 career hits against Bartolo Colon now in 20 at bats. And the tying run is coming to the plate. Terry Collins pondering his options as Michael Bourne digs in. Michael's flied out twice. Broken bat, roller to second. Flores the turn, and Bourne beat the Rapid first. Close play. Adonis Garcia will pinch hit.
Good hustle by Michael to just avoid that double play. It's not close.
Garcia in the 7th for McKirahan. A long one would get Shelby Miller off the hook. It's a 4-2 game. Weiler allowed a run. McKirahan allowed a hit in his scoreless inning.
Adonis did not play in the Phillies series. Was 0 for 7 on the road trip. That was all in Washington.
With Oliveira here, playing time's been tough to come by for Adonis, who's won for his last 13 at the plate. And that's fouled off Plawecki. It's 0-2. Bartolo Colon's impressive scoreless streak has come to an end, but he's still winning the game. It's 4-2 now.
That's why when Freddie goes to the bullpen, those add-on runs against the Braves have been so costly all season long, really. The 2 walks to start the top of the 7th that led to a run gave Colon just enough of an extra cushion to help.
Anderson in right, and 2 out. And now Nick Markakis is coming up, and Terry Collins will make his way to home plate umpire Tim Welke, and he'll get Bartolo Colon out of the ball game. It appears Colon went 6 2/3 innings, 2 runs so far, 7 hits, 1 walk, and I've got him with 2 strikeouts. So Bartolo Colon in line for win number 14. His bullpen has to help him out. He departs with a man aboard, and the tying run coming up with 2 outs in the Braves 7.
Your local Ford dealer.
4-2 New York. Braves still batting in the bottom of the 7th inning. Double switch for the Mets, and their skipper Terry Collins, one of their heroes in Washington. Kirk Neuenhuis will take over in left field and bat in the number 9 spot. And Dario Alvarez, well, through 6 pitches, struck out Bryce Harper and got a win.
Not a bad deal. Spent most of the year in AAA at Las Vegas. If you're going to play in AAA, that's not a bad place to play.
No.
But only 1 game so far on the year.
So Nick Markakis with an 0 for working tonight. He's 0 for 3. And way outside, 1 ball, no strikes. New York got 3 in the 4th, 1 in the 7th. Braves have answered with 2 of their own here in the home half of inning 7. And Colon in line for his 14th victory. Back to the screen.
Right on that one.
Mets bullpen, 8th in the major leagues, a 3.21 ERA. This one hit toward left. Neuenhuis is there. He will make the play. And Alvarez did his job and sends our game to the 8th. 4-2. Bartolo and the Mets have the lead in game 1. From the ballpark, let's go back to our AT&T Uverse trivia question. It was a very good trivia question featuring Braves first baseman Freddie Freeman. Over the last 4 years, he's tied for second with 14 home runs against the Mets. Who's first?
I'm going to stay with my guess of Ryan Howard.
You said Bryce Harper.
I'm saying Bryce Harper.
All right, I'll stay away from that. I'll go Giancarlo Stanton.
Good one.
And the answer is...
Hey!
Oh, welcome
Nice.
back, Tommy.
It's about time.
We really missed you.
Joe, don't you love it when a part-timer comes in and makes an immediate contribution?
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, September call-up, trying to make my mark.
There are 3 guys. He has 15.
Okay.
Freddie has 14, tied with 2 other guys. And you'll never guess them. Both Washington Nationals.
So not Bryce Harper,
Zimmerman.
obviously.
Ian Desmond and former Nat Adam LaRoche.
Really?
I thought about him, too, but...
Then comes Harper, Howard, and those 2 guys.
How many does Harper have?
13.
13. Wow. That's probably felt like all 13 were in that 3-game series.
No kidding.
As Edwin Jackson takes over in the top of the 8th inning, Wilmer Flores the batter. He's 1 for 3. And there's that good slider from Edwin. When he's had that, he's been very, very effective. That rang the bell of A.J. Przinsky as we approach the midnight hour. Ooh.
Right off the kneecap.
That's fouled away, and Flores still alive at 0-2. Milwaukee leads the Pirates 6-4 in the 13th inning. That was 3-3 going into extras. So the bullpens have had an adventurous night. Pittsburgh will, if they lose a chance to pick up a game on the Cardinals. The Reds wallop them tonight 11-0.
Well, they just can't beat Milwaukee, can they?
No.
Pirates.
And especially in Milwaukee. They've been swept there a lot. That's one of their houses of horrors. Pittsburgh also can't beat the Reds, so that's a bit of an oddity. In fact, you look at their record against the Central. The Pirates are really fortunate to be as close as they are in the division. They're double digits under 500 against the Central, if memory serves. Joe had that stat earlier in the week. Down the right field line and into the right field corner.
Pirates are 25-34 in their own division.
Ross Detweiler left with a left hamstring strain. 2-2 for Flores, and downstairs. Kelly Johnson back in Atlanta. Boy, you know he's happy to sleep in his own bed at home. Warren and the kids, I'm sure, happy to have Dad home in September. And with the first place Mets. And it's over in Pittsburgh. Brewers beat the Pirates. So our game is the final game still working.
And it's amazing that they were even able to get it underway.
Up the middle. And Wilmer Flores with a big league at bat, a 10-pitch sequence, and he leads off the 8th with his second hit of the night. So here is Kelly. His infield hit didn't bring home a run, but it might have been the biggest play in the game as Flores is taken down for a pinch runner. And it's former Brave Eric Young Jr.
Saw him before the game, talked to him after he went to New York, or to their organization from Gwinnett. He went to Vegas for a time, and they called him up, and he's a pretty good weapon for them late in the ball game when they need a pinch runner.
I recall Eric Young scored the first game-winning run of the season for the Braves, April 6th in Miami. That one gets away from A.J. Przinsky. He can't find it. And Young in at second base. Eli scampered home on a ground ball off the bat of Nick Markakis, and the Braves beat the Marlins 2-1 way back on April the 6th. That magical beginning to the season for the Braves. Began the year 5-0. Ball, 1 strike. In the air center. Bourne going back. He's on to the warning track and has just enough room. Young will tag and head to third on a deep fly ball off the bat of Kelly Johnson.
We were talking about Flores' swing earlier. Kelly Johnson's always had such good hands. He gets fooled once in a while. He strikes out some, but he can hit a fastball, and he can hit anybody's fastball, and he does it because he's got strong hands and quick hands.
And a productive out for Kelly Johnson. He gets the high five from his mates. As Eric Young Jr. 90 feet away for Plawecki, and the infield's coming in for the Braves. Strike 1. Steven Matz will pitch for the Mets tomorrow night. The Braves have not yet announced who their starting pitcher will be. As Freddie Gonzalez said in Philadelphia, there are plenty of candidates.
Yes, there are.
Ball. Peterson knocked it down, but on the dive couldn't make the throw to the plate, and the Mets add on a 5th run. That was championship caliber baseball. Got him on, got him over, and got him in.
Just
3 RBI night.
Just you suggested, though, Chip, with the first run of the season for the Braves, game-winning run, going on contact with the infield in. Eric Young did it again and scored because that ball was, there's no way that Chase could make a play on it at the plate.
So here's Neuenhuis. In a season of heroes, Neuenhuis will be remembered as one of them. His home run off a shocked Drew Storen in their series with the Nationals. Excuse me, that was it Papelbon or Storen? Papelbon. It was Papelbon. I beg your pardon. Off Jonathan Papelbon. Storen was hit awfully hard in that series too. Thank you, Joe. It was Papelbon. On Tuesday night, one of the biggest hits of the year for New York. And that was no cheapie.
That capped that huge comeback.
Down 7-1 in that game. came back to win it. Oh, the fans are saying hi to Keith Hernandez, who's with us in the Mets booth. And we will say hello to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's 5-2. New York has the lead, game 1 on a long, rainy night in Atlanta. Indians square off in a game you can only see on Fox Sports 1. Coverage starts at 12:30 Eastern on Fox and 7 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Hector Olivera leads off the Atlanta 8th. Mets by 3 runs now, a 5-2 score. And Alvarez back to work out of the New York bullpen. 2 lefties, then the switch hitter Nick Swisher after Olivera bats. And that one's out of play into the club level. Strike 1. Hector a 1 for 3 night. He'll take a 5-game hitting streak into game 2 here tomorrow. Ruben Tejada is the new shortstop. We'll see what lineup combination Terry Collins has in store for us tomorrow. David Wright didn't play tonight. Daniel Murphy didn't play. Travis d'Arnaud didn't play.
This guy Dario Alvarez, when you look at his stats for his career, there's a gap. He was in the Dominican Summer League with the Phillies 2007, 8, and 9, and then there's no stats for him between 2009 and 2013. That's because he pitched in Venezuela. He played for the Industriales de Herrera in Panama and played in Japan for the SoftBank Hawks.
Huh.
He was traveling the globe.
Stayed after it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's teams all over the world looking for lefties.
Yeah, there are.
The announced crowd tonight, 22,640. As Olivera faces a 2-2 count. Game 2 of the series later on tonight, as that one's yanked foul. We're past midnight. 2-hour and 20-minute rain delay.
Another game tonight.
Yep. Don't forget to stay tuned for Braves Live. Christina Fitzpatrick will be down in the Braves clubhouse. She'll get sound from tonight's Atlanta players, as well as Atlanta skipper Freddie Gonzalez. We will get his thoughts on Shelby Miller's performance, find out who's pitching in Game 2 against Steven Matz, another young phenom the Mets have brought up to pitch here in the final weeks of the season.
Freddie Gonzalez was teasing the other night after that win in Philadelphia about the elbow guard for Hector Oliveira. He said, you know, we may have to get him an upgrade on that. It looked like Chuck Bednarik was wearing that for the Philadelphia Eagles back in the 60s.
He needs a custom one like Nick Swisher. Bouncing ball toward third. Uribe's got it. And his throw at first is on time. You notice Nick Swisher's armband has his name on it. We can get Oliveira one of those before the end of the year. Hopefully Nick will come up and we can show you that protective armband on the elbow. One out.
You can probably wear that one on your ankle, shin.
Yeah, that looks like an old catcher's guard that he cut.
Strike one for Freeman. This isn't the final series we play with the Mets. We get to go to New York one more time. Braves will play the Mets the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd up at Citi Field. We'll have our final off day on the road in Miami. Our final road series will be against the Marlins. At home for 3 with Washington, 3 with St. Louis. And then we'll look ahead to 2016. Fly ball left. That should be easy for Neuenhuis. It is. The tentative schedule did come out earlier in the week. If you didn't hear, the Braves will open at home Monday, April 4th against the Nationals. It'll be a 2-game series. Cardinals will be in right after the Nationals. Atlanta has 8 interleague series, 4 of them at home with the Red Sox, the Indians, and the Twins. And in a real oddity, the final game of regular season play at Turner Field in the history of this ballpark will be with our fierce rivals, the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
September 30th through October 2nd. We'll play the Royals, White Sox, and Twins on the road. And the final homestand again, the Phillies and Detroit Tigers. And then we'll have new digs in 2017, SunTrust Park.
Where's the All-Star game next year? Any idea?
You're going to ask me that.
Chan's looking it up. He's on it.
San Diego, I think it is. 2018's in Washington. They've got those signs everywhere. I don't know where 17 is. Popped up. Plawecki behind the plate, near the screen, reaches up, and he'll make the play. And that will send us to inning number 9. Quiet night for the Braves bats. They have but 2 runs. The Mets have 5, and we are through 8.
This copyrighted
night or giveaway item. Here's your chance to get it with Braves Country Grab Bag Night, October 2nd against the Cardinals. Along with your game ticket, you'll get to choose one of over 25 Braves promotional items to take home as a souvenir. Go to Braves.com/grabbag for more information and to purchase your tickets. I have a feeling that Zuba's Pants Night is going to be a very, very popular grab bag gift. Just saying. On Julio Teheran bobblehead night, Ryan Kelly is the 4th Braves pitcher.
5 outings for Ryan.
Pitcher, I beg your pardon.
5 outings for Ryan since he got called back up. He's only given up 1 run in those 5 outings. In his last 3 outings, that's 3 2/3 of 2-hit shutout ball with 3 strikeouts.
He has the top of the order for the Mets. Anderson, Cespedes, and Lucas Duda. Granderson 0 for 3, but did walk and score. And that's fouled off A.J. Przinsky. Steve, rank 1.
Both of these teams arrived in the wee hours this morning, actually. Wee hours of Thursday morning. So quick turnaround for this game and then delayed by the rain delay. So their gas meter is. Their gasoline meter is running low on both sides, I'm sure.
If New York wins the game, their magic number will be 16 entering play tomorrow. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Terry Collins' name got to be in the hat for Manager of the Year, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Done a great job.
And really kept things together when things were not nearly so bright and happy for the Mets, especially from an offensive standpoint. I mean, this was a team that just kind of floundered along. And when they won, it was because their pitching was great. When they lost, it's because their great pitching wasn't supported by any offense at all. And they hung in there, and here they are. Just a couple of weeks making the playoffs for the first time in a long time.
I had a scout tell me yesterday that he thought Terry was doing a great job for the last 2 or 3 years when they were short on talent and trying to get better as they went along and having the patience to help these guys get better.
John,
nice compliment.
We all know that you know Terry personally. You played with him in the minor leagues and you have a great friendship. You also have said how proud you are of Terry Collins for how differently he's managing now than the first couple of times he had.
He had to change. He wasn't going to get another chance to manage unless he came to grips with his intensity and his. I'll take AJ out there to try to calm Ryan down. He was wound real tight, and he still is. He just knows how to control it and put it to good use. And I think that got the best of him in both Houston and with the Angels. So he went to work on himself, and he did a good job of that.
And to be able to do that in the market in which he's working, with all that job entails. I mean, could you imagine being that intense, that fiery, and having to be in a press conference room? Tommy, you know all about that, with 40, 50 guys a night asking you, as Cespedes hits it a mile high, asking you the same question 40 different times in 15 different ways, and you can't blow your gasket.
No, and
they're trying to get you to do that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And he's done a pretty good job, it seems, when I've seen him in some press conferences or whatever, of when he gets in those situations, kind of keeping it light, you know, and interjecting a little bit of humor in there to kind of keep it from escalating and him blowing a gasket and things going down a road that he doesn't want it to go down.
Well, he's got a great sense of humor. It's just that his incredibly strong desire to win oftentimes got the better of him in a couple of his other opportunities to manage. But he has, again, he's managed that.
So Terry Collins, Mike Matheny, Joe Madden, Don Mattingly, those guys all have to be considered in the manager of the year race in the National League.
Yeah, for Matheny, I think unfortunately for him, he doesn't get enough credit. Everybody just says, well, he had a ready-made team when he took over. You know, all he had to do was just fill in a lineup. There's so much more that goes on.
Well, let's remember, they lost Holiday for a long time. Matt Adams, Adam Wainwright went down. Matt Carpenter wasn't the Matt Carpenter that the rest of the league is seeing now for the first half of the season.
Right.
Newly acquired Addison Reed is getting ready in the Mets bullpen. Might see him in the bottom of the 9th inning. As that's outside, 2 balls and a strike from Kelly. Nationals, meanwhile, will be 7.5 back entering play tomorrow. They'll face the Marlins in Miami. The Nationals have not named their starter. Jared Cozart is going to pitch for the Marlins. Boy, he had a great arm, has a great arm. Saw him a couple of times last year and we're very impressed with his work. But vertigo has really wrecked his season.
Well, whatever they do, don't let him go up to the broadcast booth in Washington. It'll set him back until next season.
It's downstairs. Did he swing? Nope. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Uribe is next, barring a double play ball. Runner goes. And ball 4.
AJ getting frustrated, it looks like, behind the plate with the free passes. That's 4 of them from the bullpen so far.
Can't defend those. And now Uribe will hit 2 singles, a run, an RBI, and 1 big bruise. Juan had a great line earlier this year, and I can't remember if it was when we acquired him or when we traded him to the Mets. He's a very stylish guy, and one of his favorite things is he's a car freak. Loves them. And someone asked him, well, do you want to play after this year? He said, yeah, I need more cars. It's the latest and the raciest model he can find.
I'd say for a guy that didn't play here any more than he did, he became a very popular player in this city, and for good reason.
As you said, played the game like he was having fun doing it. Infectious smile. And call everybody Poppy. 2 balls and a strike. Couple of those pitches should have gone Kelly's way. Popped up into the seats, and it's 2-2.
I give these fans credit for weathering the storm and sticking around.
Ripped into the gap, and that's going to score at least 1. Duda around second, on his way to third. He's going to come around and score. 2 RBIs for Uribe. And the Mets have scored 4 runs off the Atlanta bullpen tonight.
Four runs, and 3 of them reached by walk. That was laced.
That ball was hit hard. So here's Daniel Murphy.
Fastball at the knees. There's that sound. Tommy, you played with Murphy, didn't you? Was he up?
No.
He hadn't made it yet? That's too bad. I was going to ask you to give us a rundown on his life. Tell us all you know about him.
Popped up out of play. If there's a Met that hasn't been enjoying all this offensive bounty, this is the guy for some reason. When he plays against the Braves, it seems like Murphy gets 3 or 4 hits a game. Right now, Murphy has 3 hits in his last 31 tries.
Oh.
No balls, 2 strikes. 7-2 New York. And driven toward right. That'll stay in the park. Uribe is going to tag at second. He'll take third without a throw. And there's the second out of the inning. That'll bring up Ruben Tejada. Tejada riding a 5-game hitting streak. Three homers this year, including an inside the park homer that came on September 2nd against the Phillies.
Yeah, that was when Dominic Brown, I think, crashed into the wall and somersaulted into the stands and was injured.
Brown with a concussion that might end his tenure as a Philly.
But here's another guy. I didn't even mention him a minute ago among those that weren't playing tonight. Another solid utility guy.
Fly ball well hit. Swisher on the run, still going back. He's going to get there at the edge of the track. That ends the New York ninth. 2 walks, 2 runs, and a big double by Uribe. Mets 7, Atlanta 2 as we head to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Mets offense gave Bartolo Colon an early lead, and the big right-hander made it stand up.
Braves were getting some base runners against him early in the ball game, but he just kept pitching around it. A couple of 2-out hits in the first, a hit in the second, third, and then all of a sudden he kind of got into a groove. And that double play turned his own help a nice play.
Yeah, tough play. Moved around, like I said, big guy, but he moves around pretty well out there, fields his position, helps himself out, and another solid outing.
And always with a smile on his face.
So here's our SunTrust save of the game honors. And the Mets call upon Addison Reed, a man they acquired from the Diamondbacks. If there was a question for the Mets, it is sometimes their 7th inning. They have had some trouble getting to their setup guy. Maybe Reed can be a man that can help him with that. The early returns are encouraging as a Met.
Absolutely they are. And this guy was the closer for the Diamondbacks just last year. And for whatever reasons had some problems this year. Moved to the 7th or 8th inning. The Mets have had trouble with Bobby Parnell. Eric O'Flaherty has not been able to be productive for them. This guy has been in 5 games and hasn't given up a run.
If he keeps throwing 92, 93 right there, he's not going to give up any runs.
No balls, 2 strikes quickly for Swisher at 12:30 in the morning in Atlanta. And he just erased Swisher with a sweeping slider. Good pitch. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. 1 down. Jace Peterson drove home the first Atlanta run with a triple in the 7th, and ending Bartolo Colon's scoreless streak at 31 consecutive innings. Ball 1.
Reed's been in 3 games against the Braves this year while with the Diamondbacks. Did not allow a run to Atlanta. Big guy turns that front shoulder, makes it a little hard to pick the ball up.
Has sprayed 3 off the plate badly. 3 balls, no strikes. And on 4 straight, he walks Jace Peterson with a 5-run lead. Braves are trying to avoid a 9th consecutive home loss. Last time that happened, 1988. They lost the first 8 games at home that year. There's a strike.
And what was a real good home record, a loss tonight will make them 500 at Turner Field.
Check swing roller. Reed can't get it. And Simmons will reach the ball under the glove of Kelly Johnson. That's the only chance he had. So Kelly has a check swing infield hit. Andrelton Simmons has one of his own, and the Braves have 2 on with 1 out. And a 3-hit night for the Braves shortstop.
If you're going to check swing, just ask Kelly Johnson. It doesn't matter where you check swing it to.
Don't hit it hard enough for anybody to get to it.
Michael Bourne looks for a hit tonight. He is 0 for 3. Something else to think about as we play the Mets tomorrow, September 11th. Always a somber day around our country, and certainly for those who live in New York and play for the Mets. There's the bouncing ball to second. Only one play, reached to first. Runners advance, 2 out. John Cunningham will be the final hope. Where were the Braves on September 11th?
We were home. We were home.
You guys were here? I was in Chicago with the Cubs, and remember so vividly that horrible day. And I'm sure it'll be something memorialized at the ballpark tomorrow.
Let's hope so.
Mets, I believe, are going to wear, as they always do on September 11th, police fire hats, Tommy. Is that Shea Stadium was such an important part of the relief effort, the rescue efforts at the World Trade Center. And the Braves played the first game back in New York after September 11th.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a lot tomorrow, I'm sure. It was an eerie night.
1 ball, 1 strike. And now 1 and 2. Mets were a strike away from shaving another off their magic number. And they have lived up to billing. They're scoring a lot of runs. They scored a lot tonight, 7, including 4 against the Atlanta bullpen late. And Milwaukee couldn't hang on. Still 1 and 2. Chopper, it's foul again.
Now 1 more strike, 1 more out, and Colon will be 4-0 against Atlanta this year. 4 of his 14 wins.
Fly ball left, and that is going to do it. The Mets' magic number to win the East is now at 16. They take game 1 of the series by a final score of 7-2. Former Braves Kelly Johnson and Juan Uribe came to town and had a big night against their former club. Uribe with 3 hits, 3 RBIs. Kelly Johnson a couple of hits, and even Bartolo Colon drove in a run. And New York wins game 1 of the set.